Today we're gonna do a range test. Our first range test we did at 70 miles an hour in the cold with the heat off. This was to push the limits of the car. Now this is ideal conditions. It's not necessarily realistic. We're gonna do a realistic range test today. We're gonna go 75 miles per hour in the cold with the heat on and with a couple passengers. So we just finished supercharging and we're at 262 rated miles. We're gonna arrive to our destination with an estimated 49% state of charge. And we would get back here, it says, with minus 5%. So let's see how it goes. So we're 25% of the way through the drive. We've driven 48 miles and our SOC is at 75%. The battery's temperature is 25 Celsius. We'll check in again at 50%. So we're at about 50% remaining range and we've driven just about 95 miles. The battery cell temperature is 25 degrees Celsius. The car's done fantastically and it looks like we're gonna have about a 10% hit to the range, going from 70 to 75 to 77 miles an hour and having the heat on. All right, so we're at about 25% battery now. We've gone 144 miles, so we have an anticipated range of 192 miles from 100% SOC to 0% SOC. The battery's temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, which suggests the car has been warming the battery during the entire drive. It's actively heating up the battery. We've set the cruise control primarily to 75 to 77 miles per hour. If I had to describe this drive in layman's terms, in a non-scientific term, it would be middle lane driving, not the right lane or the slow lane or not the fast lane, but kind of middle lane driving. The car has also an additional 2.5 kilowatt hour buffer below zero. So it's possible that this car can do 200 miles. All right, so we just pulled into the supercharger and started charging. We had 13 miles of rated range remaining. That's the equivalent of using 95% of the battery pack, which is rated at 51 kilowatt hours. That corresponds here to 48 kilowatt hours of energy used at 263 watt hours per mile. This is kind of like an EV's MPG. So we went 182.6 miles, and that equates to 190 miles on a full battery pack, which is an excellent result. And if you include the buffer below 0%, this car might be capable of 200 miles, going 75 miles an hour. That's incredible from such a relatively small battery pack compared to the competitors out there. And now we're charging. Look, we're still charging at over 100 kilowatts. It's amazing. We've added 59 miles in like no time at all. So the two numbers that came out of this are 191 miles between 100 and 0 and about almost exactly 200 miles if you include the buffer below 0. So that compares to 210 and 223 miles at the 70 mile per hour range test, which I'll link below. So about a 10% range hit for going that much faster with the heat on and a couple passengers in the car. Either way, you know, once you start focusing on these tight differences and details, you're going to be supercharging not to 100%. You're probably not going to be brave enough to take your battery below 0 all the time. So there's another component to this, which is like a road trip, or what's it like to really take this thing on a road trip? I think that's ultimately what people start wondering when you look at the range and the charging rate. Because day to day, you probably don't drive very far if you're like most Americans. And with that, if you have even 120 volts of charging, you won't worry about this most of the time. So at some point in the future, we're gonna go on a road trip and we'll show you what that's like. But until then, hopefully we'll find some new battery bro content that's not even related to a Tesla. So if you like this video, please don't forget to like, get your thumbs out of your bums and like, and please consider subscribing. Again, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.